Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. The Shy, one of the dopest shows on TV, one of the most important shows on TV right now. Miriam Hyman here with us. Miriam, how are you?
I'm good. How y'all feeling out there?
Feeling good right now. It's obviously a crazy time outside, but a great time on TV, and so happy you're jumping on The Shy. So what was the coolest part of this experience? Because it had a first 2 seasons where it was really interesting, really fascinating, and then you jump in the fold in season 3. So what was it like?
Yeah. First off, as you already mentioned, it is a really, really dope show, super necessary, especially now. And I think one of the best parts was just coming in as a new character on this 3rd season, and there's already so much life that is being breathed into this particular show. And so to come on and add to that nuance, to add to that life and to just bring a different color, just in terms of like my character and, what her focuses are, what her energy is. So I think to already come into a team that was already really so tight and so solid, and to just be able to kind of work seamlessly with them and to be really welcomed and accepted so early on during the process, that made my experience all the better for sure.
That's really awesome. So you've done a ton of shows in the past. You've done your music thing as well. When do you feel like you found the voice for Dre and kind of found a comfort zone with her?
I think pretty early on. I had to really binge watch the first 2 seasons, so I knew what I was like really walking into. Just starting to understand some of the relationships that already pre-exist, on the show, and so again, me just kind of coming into that. So I mean, I feel like once I read like the first script and I got some pointers from some of the like producers on the show, I feel like I was able to find her in the beginning pretty easily, but then there was still the challenge of, keeping her consistent throughout the entire season and just making sure that, she's executing every single time and just being a full, character. So if just, multidimensional, I didn't want her to be like a stereotype. I wanted her to be, somebody that everybody could know and love. And whether you don't, if you do or you don't, there's definitely going to be that level of respect there for sure.
I think breaking stereotypes is one of the best parts of the show. So whether it's Chicago as a city or even just families, like families just
Right.
look different in general. Like it doesn't matter who's in your family, like families figure it out. And yours is certainly the case. You walk in, you now have stepkids, you have a new wife. What does it mean to be able to say a deeper message about just all the different ways that love can be represented and also family as well?
I mean, I think you just hit on it. It's a matter of us showing that there are some commonalities, but like, let's rejoice and, celebrate the fact that we are very different, and just to have like, not only just love, but Black love to be shown, within this type of a show, just where we are right now, the climate, of our country and really of the world. I just thought it was so important, to make sure that the love was there, that we were I like to call it HOT is my acronym, honest, open, and truthful.
I
And
like
so
that.
yeah, thank you. You can borrow it. But yeah, just to make sure that I'm proud of being a part of a show that is not afraid to show that Black love and just love can exist in this particular way. It was never like a question or like an issue when I found out that I was going to be married to her or like anything. Like, I was like, dope, cool,
Like, let's do it. Yeah.
when's the wedding day, So yeah, I've just been really appreciative of this particular story and how I've been able to, be a part of it.
Someone else who's not afraid of the moment or afraid to say things is Lena Waithe, and she's created this amazing world here, and she's a beautiful storyteller and has done it for a long time. What was the best part of working with her on this?
Well, we didn't get a chance to work on any scenes together or anything like that. Maybe for season 4, we'll see. But, I think going back to like me just being accepted into the fold, like she was a huge part of that, making sure that some of the questions that I had were heard, and answered. And then I think as we've established, like our bond, it's just been a matter of what's best for the character, what's best for this particular family. What am I bringing to the table? How can they assist me in whatever else I need? So again, I can fully just execute. So I think that level of support, you know, just being welcomed, being saluted by her was really just huge for me. So her and Common, actually, that
Yeah.
was like double time, you know, because of the music and everything. I was like, this is so dope.
Yeah, I mean, just being able to collaborate with somebody like Common, especially for you, music and acting, like it's got to be in like one of your top moments right there, right?
Most definitely. I mean, I really can't complain. There are a lot of hardships that have hit the country, you know, that have been hitting the country, but more recently, you know, where collectively we're all kind of suffering from this pandemic. But it has definitely been a highlight to have been able to build relationships with both of those two individuals, and then just to have this show airing right now. Like, I'm like, can there be a more perfect time? I mean, hello. Even the billboard, you know, is
Yeah.
7 beautiful Black faces. It's just like, oh my gosh, you know. So yeah, I'm super thrilled.
And for all the people too who want to listen and learn and who may not understand what's going on with systemic racism or just the life of a person with Black or brown skin, you watch this show and you can understand just a little glimpse of it. So what does it mean to
Exactly.
you that this show right now, like in all the conversations we're having, what is the most important thing you want people to learn about this show and just everything we're talking about
I think that our stories really matter, and we have a lot of different stories, you know, so we can't be boxed in or, you know, made to feel like, oh, you know, you've been marginalized and so you can only talk about these, you know, a few stories that you minorities have. It's like, let's
here?
get rid of that, you know, word. Let's just focus on what is the majority. The majority is that there is collective struggle in this country. Everybody is not 1%, you know, 2%, you know, in terms of what they're receiving financially, you know. And how you have a huge group of people that are suffering and make very little money, and you have 1% that makes a huge amount of money. I mean, it doesn't really make sense, you know. And so I just feel like this particular type of show supports in balancing out the reality of society. It gives you a different um, it just gives you a different option. And I feel like that's really what we need in order to learn more about each other as a collective. We're always learning about white folks, always, their histories, what they like, what they don't like, but very rarely are some of these other, you know, races and nationalities learning about us and like the true, you know, essence of us, not just some lame stereotypes, you know? So yeah, I just think it's imperative to have these types of productions on air, and not just for this moment, but period, you know?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Amen to all that. Not just having one show that represents the Black experience, but just making it mainstream and making it completely normal. When you turn on any network, there's just an equal situation going on here. And I think
most
that's
definitely.
hopefully what we're moving forward into. And hopefully we'll see what happens with that. But I think the cool thing about your story is like, you've been doing this for a minute. You've been doing the music thing as well. So why don't we talk music here for a second? How did the whole Robin
Yeah.
Hood persona kind of start up, and what's it been like going on that journey?
You know, it's an interesting moniker. For me, you know, I was really trying to figure out when I started writing my music in 2013, I wanted to basically just have a voice other than what I was doing theatrically. And so I've always loved music, always loved hip hop, you know, but I wasn't really crazy about some of the themes, you know, that I was hearing. And so I decided to start to buy industry beats, you know, like dope tracks from like Swiss Beats, you know, and I would write about what I was not hearing, you know, on the radio. And so when I started thinking about names, it's like who is for the community? How can I be for the community? And so Robin Hood came about. I mean, there were other names in the mix, but Robin Hood was. But I like that it kind of mixed all my past with my future, you know, what I've grown up with and without versus what I have now, and how I can be focused on giving back more, taking from what I've received thus far, what I've learned, these institutions that I've attended, the traveling that I've done, to then bring it back to my community, back to my family, and impart, you know, a level of, I don't want to say wisdom necessarily, but, you know, direction, support, guidance. And Robin for the Hood is really, you know, like if I could put two words in between there, you know, that's really what it would be. You know, my lyrics, I try to be very, you know, in touch with what's going on, you know, make sure that I'm, you know, that everything is really relevant and prevalent, but also just really talking to the people. You know, my current EP that's out right now is called Alter Ego. And, you know, basically it's a compilation of skits and songs, you know. And so even with that, you know, I'm a voiceover artist as well as being an actor, as well as being, you know, a musician. So I act out these skits and I play the different, you know, characters. Yeah. And it really is about, you know, when artists meet with producers sometimes, or with record labels, you know, the types of relationships that they're trying to build. And sometimes what your overall focus is as an artist, it gets kind of swept under the rug because these labels have a totally different agenda, you know. So Alter Ego is about trying to stick to the agenda, but at the same time answering the call, answering these challenges that you kind of get forced into, you know, just because you want to essentially like get your music out there, you know, so the masses can hear it, you know. So in a nutshell.
Well, Miriam, you're an artist in every sense of the word. Looking forward to season 3 of The Shy, and as well as all your music. Thanks so much for jumping on, and be good, all right?
Awesome. Take care so much. Appreciate it.